Could Anthony Davis join the Memphis Grizzlies? Someone seems to think so. The Grizzlies right now are locked in a fierce and very brutal battle with the Golden State Warriors, with the winners likely to face the Phoenix Suns in the Eastern Conference Finals. But even with that in mind, and Ja Morant and crew playing out of their minds this season, some think they need one last piece in order to go beyond and truly be a contender for the NBA title. As a result, some are thinking they might shuffle some pieces around to get Anthony Davis. But what would it cost them to do that? Number 6. Trade number 1 to Grizzlies. Let's spell out these trades one at a time, shall we? First up, we have Los Angeles Lakers receive center Miles Turner, guard Dillon Brooks. Indiana Pacers receive center Steven Adams, guard DeAnthony Melton, 2023 first-round pick Memphis, 2024 first-round pick Golden State. Memphis Grizzlies receive forward center Anthony Davis. Here, the Los Angeles Lakers pass on draft capital in order to add 2 win-now players. With LeBron James on the roster, that checks out. While many observers assume they'll part with Westbrook, this deal could actually allow them to keep the former MVP. Miles Turner is a career 34.9% three-point shooter. He's one of the few big men in the league who could provide Westbrook with the spacing he needs to thrive without compromising their defense. Meanwhile, the Pacers get involved to boost their rebuild. They're forced to take on Adams' contract, but 2 first-round picks in the 23-year-old Melton are strong compensation for Turner. Finally, the Memphis Grizzlies get their guy. Adding Anthony Davis is a risk, but the potential reward is immense. If he returns to his previous form, the Grizzlies won't be a dark horse contender by the end of the 2022-2023 season. They may be odds-on championship favorites. And again, it's if he stays healthy. They might even play that to their advantage and only play him sporadically throughout the regular season in order to ensure his healthiness for the playoffs. Number 5. Trade number 2 to Grizzlies. And now for the other trade option. Los Angeles Lakers receive center Steven Adams, guard Dillon Brooks, guard DeAnthony Melton, 2023 first-round pick Memphis, 2024 first-round pick Golden State. Memphis Grizzlies receive forward center Anthony Davis. Now, if this return feels modest for the Los Angeles Lakers, you might be living in the past. Anthony Davis probably won't command a package befitting a superstar. At 29, he's got enough health concerns to give any team pause. When he is available this season, his play was compromised. In particular, his 18.6% three-point shooting was problematic. If Davis isn't a floor spacer, he loses much of his appeal. Still, he should be able to fill in Steven Adams' shoes. The Grizzlies are, barring a catastrophe, getting the best player in this deal. The Lakers are simply getting deeper. Dillon Brooks is a consummate 3-and-D wing, and he can create shots for himself in a bind as well. Adams, while no Anthony Davis, is a strong interior presence on both ends of the floor. And at 23, Melton has upside as a scoring guard and should be a better fit with LeBron James than Westbrook was. Number 4. Could either trade really work out for either team? Trust us when we say we would love to answer that question definitively, but we can't. Not the least of which is because the Grizzlies are still playing in the playoffs at the time of making this video. So for all we know, they could go on to win the title and prove they don't need Davis to win it. As for the Lakers, they are in a situation where they tried to go all in on, again, talent. And it blew up in their faces. To them, Davis might be the best piece they have to trade, and to get some players that can work with LeBron and whoever is left on the roster in order to make things work for the better. Back with the Grizzlies, depending on how things end, they might not feel the need to make a big trade, but add in smaller pieces, if you will, in order to get the results that they want. What we have here are 2 teams that are very different in what they need and want, and with futures that could vary wildly depending on what happens in the playoffs next, as well as what they feel they need to do course correct for next season. And as for Davis, there are plenty of rumors about other teams that he could go to. Number 3, OKC Thunder. If there is one team in the league that has the capability to trade for any player, it is the Oklahoma City Thunder, simply because of all the future assets that they own. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Josh Giddey are likely untouchable in trade talks, but Luguentz Dort, Darius Bazley, Alexei Pokusevski, Theo Maledon, and Jeremiah Robinson-Earl could all be moved in a massive package deal for Anthony Davis. Plus, the Thunder own the rights to 35 total draft picks through 2028. Any combination of draft picks and young talent are on the table for a trade involving the Oklahoma City Thunder right now, and Anthony Davis could be the perfect all-star for them to build with, especially since he is only 28 years old and the Thunder have an immediate need for a big man in their front court. 3 first-round picks, 1 or 2 second-round picks, Lou Dort, and Darius Bazley could be enough value for the Lakers to take back in a trade with the Thunder centered around Anthony Davis. That is if they're fully committed to rebuilding. Number 2, Charlotte Hornets. Another team besides the Oklahoma City Thunder who could show a level of interest in Anthony Davis is the Charlotte Hornets. For quite some time now, the Hornets have been trying to fix the problems in their front court, and while Mason Plumlee and recently acquired Montrezl Harrell have played well, these two are still not the future of the Hornets front court. LaMelo Ball and Terry Rozier have the backcourt tied up, but they need that true threat in the front court, which is very apparent in Charlotte right now, and may be the final piece to making them a real threat in the Eastern Conference. Anthony Davis is not only an elite-level offensive talent when healthy, but he is one of the best defensive players in the league. Running pick-and-roll sets with LaMelo Ball and Terry Rozier would be highly advantageous to the Charlotte Hornets, and they have quite a few assets to talk trades with. Gordon Hayward is now 32 years old, making him a possible offseason trade asset for this team, and Miles Bridges is going to be a very attractive trade piece for this team after the season he has put together. And at just 23 years old and being a double-double threat on the wing, Miles Bridges could be exactly what the Los Angeles Lakers would like to add on the wing in a trade involving Anthony Davis. PJ Washington could be included in a trade for more future value going to Los Angeles, as could rookies James Bouknight and Kai Jones. The Charlotte Hornets also own a handful of draft picks, all of which they could package together in a trade for Anthony Davis. Now, we're not saying that it would work out, but it'd be a move that could shift the momentum more in their favor. Number 1, Brooklyn Nets. Okay, are you really surprised that the Nets are here? They made a big trade that bombed and they got swept out of the playoffs. They're in a we need to fix this mode. In the offseason, it was said that Ben Simmons would like to play for one of the California teams, and there has been a strong link to the Los Angeles Lakers, especially since he is represented by Rich Paul and Clutch Sports, LeBron James' best friend and agent. Plus, with Simmons now having back surgery, he's questionable for the start of the new season. So why not get Davis and just let Simmons see what happens in LA? At least they'll get a player who may be able to play at least part of next season, or they might be gun-shy because they've had to deal with injured players all season and the last 2 before that. And thus, they wouldn't want to risk it all for a guy who might not even be ready for the playoffs when the time comes next year. So as you can see, there is still a lot of flux going on in the NBA, and it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. So what do you think? What do you think of this look at Anthony Davis and whether he could be traded to the Memphis Grizzlies? Do you think that such a deal is even possible? Or will Memphis want to keep all their pieces in place in order to support Ja Morant more? What about the Lakers? Are they willing to give the Grizzlies their big man? Let us know in the comments below, and we will see you next time on the channel.